All right, we'll start with John W. Davis, pregame questions for head coach Derek Fisher.
Hey, Coach, how you feeling tonight?
Good, John. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, doing well. So, got a quick question, I think, and, take as long as you want to answer it. But one thing we know about the New York Liberty is that they're not shy about shooting three-pointers, especially this season with their new coach. What can you do to, if not limit that, at least keep that in check?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do think it's clear that from a philosophical standpoint, they're really prioritizing the three-point shooting and points, at the rim. And that's where the game of basketball is going. A lot more teams are playing that way. So it should be no surprise to us, really. I think it's a few things that are key to slowing down the three-point attempts. One, you have to take care of the basketball, value it when you have it, and take quality shots that allow you to have a balanced floor, and then you're able to get back in transition, whether you make or miss, if you're taking good shots and taking care of the basketball. And that helps, that enhances your transition defense, and that's the first line of defense. And then once you're back in transition, you have the ball contained and walled off, so to speak, and you've protected the basket as you flare out. Now you have to really be able to handle the ball handlers and keep the ball in front of you. If people are constantly turning the corner and getting, into the lane or getting downhill, that stretches your defense out, and then you're recovering a long way to a lot of their bigs that they've given the green light to shoot the threes this year. Sally B, Jordan Holmes is shooting threes, Kia Stokes is shooting threes. And so, we're going to have to really be ready to rotate and be active on the defensive end tonight. And, we're going to have to play really, really hard to slow this team down.
Doug Feinberg, Associated Press.
Hey, Coach.
Hi, Doug.
You're out today. Who do you hope to step up in her place to start? I know Raquana had a great game the other day, but maybe she's more comfortable coming off the bench for you. Like, who are you looking for to step up in that starting spot?
Who did you say was out today?
Isn't TRP out, according to the thing I saw?
Oh, yes. I was like, yeah, you scared me. I thought you said somebody that I didn't know. I was like, oh, my gosh. We're going to start Britney Sykes at the wing spot. And we feel like her length and activity on the defensive end will really be good for us to have. And then as well, if we can get stops and get out into the open court, her speed and athleticism as we flow down the court can be a real asset for us. And so, there won't be, she doesn't have to do anything extra. She'll obviously get a few more minutes because the opportunity is there. But, kind of to your point, not just Britney, but, other players that'll, be getting minutes that TRP is not there to get. They'll just have to be themselves for a little bit longer, and nobody has to try and manufacture anything different. Just go out and play for one another, play for the team. Things will work out. Great.
And if I can follow up, just how much of what you guys need to do to be consistent is about you as opposed to who you're playing? I mean, New York has their 5-out system, but really is it more about what you guys need to do on the defensive end as a team more than what New York can do on the offensive end?
Yeah, I mean, that's my personal opinion, honestly, Doug. I think as a team, we're continuing to, find what will work for us, in particular in this type of season with 10 p.m. start, 3 p.m. start. Every other day, it is definitely different in terms of preparation and how you, manage to be consistent night in and night out. But with that being said, yes, I think it's always more about you than your opponent. I really do. There's only so many things that can happen in the basketball game. And if you have built the right habits, you can rely on that foundation, that training to get you through situations that may catch you by surprise. So I think that's something that for our group is still an area of growth for us, where we can really trust that our basic foundations and principles on the defensive end and the things that we like to do offensively really do not have to change much night in and night out. If we can commit to it and hold ourselves to a level of discipline and focus, we'll be fine. And so, I think that's a very good point and something for us that we have to continue to connect ourselves to.
Sabrina Merchant, SB Nation.
Hey, Derek. Happy belated birthday, first of all.
Thank you.
A lot of the players talked about during the preseason about how they wanted the offense to be like more democratic this season, not just Chelsea bringing up the ball up on every possession. How do you feel like you've been able to accomplish that so far? And is that something you think has worked well for the team?
I think, the some of that, I guess, last season was, I don't know if we had much of a choice. So just based on the way our roster was constructed, Candace's limitations, in terms of physically, what she could and couldn't do. There were always plans to have her do a little bit more of initiating offensively. Sydney Wiese was able to do some of that for us last year, but we really didn't have a true backup point guard, last year that was consistently available for us, Alexis Jones, from time to time. Just with our personnel, we have more of an opportunity to do it. Taya Cooper, Sydney's continuing to improve. Candace is healthy, doing a great job. Britney Sykes is comfortable with the basketball. Simone Augustus is comfortable with the basketball. So, we have a number of players now that we don't have to rely on just Chelsea's playmaking and ability to create a shot for herself or create a shot for other people as the only way to manufacture points. And whereas last year, honestly, that was different. And so we're excited about having more, democracy offensively, but not because that hasn't always been the plan. I think our team is doing a pretty good job of that so far, but we can always get better.
Time for two more quick ones. Doug, you said you had one more.
Thanks, Eli. Coach, one more question for you. There have been injuries around the league, and some people are making that it's a bigger thing because of.
Sorry, that was.
I'm back.
Sorry, I accidentally muted me.
So I was saying, some people are making the injury that have been mounting for teams because of the shortness between games. You played in the NBA for a while. You've been coaching for a while in both leagues. It seems to me most of these injuries are more just basketball related. Someone steps on a foot or an ankle gets turned or something, more than a wear and tear that you're playing 7 games in 15 days or whatever it is. Is that accurate, you think? Or so far it's just more basketball type injuries than, hey, we're playing a lot of games in little time and people are breaking down?
I'm not sure what the data and science, and what the exact injuries are, especially for players on other teams. I will say that, in my opinion, it may not necessarily be that playing games every other day, the injuries that are happening that we're seeing in the game, like you said, maybe somebody steps on the foot and turns an ankle in the game. But if you are playing every other day, coming off of a very abbreviated off-season, preseason, and then all of a sudden you're playing games every other day, your wear and tear, your ability to recover from the normal bumps and bruises, the time that your body normally needs to stabilize itself to be prepared to play a season, without those things, you will see an increase in injuries. So I don't know if it's just schedule related at this point. I don't know if we're far enough into it where it's just about the games. I think more importantly, we basically asked these ladies to get ready for the season in 2 weeks with no off-season training, basically. And I think it's more of a product of those things than just the games played every other day.
Last question, Leah Secondo on the broadcast tonight with Spectrum.
Hi, Coach. If you could, just a couple of your keys for success tonight against New York.
I think the main key for us, and I guess 2 keys for always, really, I think, honestly, are energy and effort. Like when those 2 things are high for us, we're really, really good. We can still win games sometimes if our energy and effort are okay. We shot the ball obviously really, really well a couple of days ago, but you don't tie franchise records every night, so you can't rely on shot making. When you play against, professional basketball players, if you don't bring the necessary energy and effort, then you're making things harder for yourself. And so, to me, that's always the barometer. When you see our players playing with a higher levels of energy, effort, they're flying around the court, they're getting up and down the court with a level of pace and pop that should jump off the screen, then I think we will have a chance to win almost every game. In a situation like tonight, where you're not sure, playing at 10 o'clock at night, playing on 36 hours since the last game, maybe the energy and effort isn't as high as it can be. But those things always jump out. And then I think, limiting our turnovers is another area, that we can also, I think, really improve in. If we can get shots on the basket, that gives us a better chance to get back and get our transition defense set. I think New York will want to push the pace on us as much as possible.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.
Media, thank you so much for joining our shoot-around media availability with Sydney Wiese and Chelsea Gray. We'll start with John W. Davis.
Hi, good West Coast morning to you, Sydney. How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. What have you been seeing in these games that you've been able to start, and what have you been seeing? What's the difference? I know you talk about always having the mentality being ready, but what's the difference for you in starting compared to coming off the bench? What are you seeing?
I think it's having that sense of urgency and taking it personally to make sure that we start off strong. Because I know the first couple games, a lot of factors go into it, but you don't want to get punched first, and then you got to cover ground, and you have to expend so much energy just trying to get back into the game or find the rhythm. So I think my mindset is to make sure that we punch first, whatever that looks like. And so coming out there, being really focused, and it starts at the tip. I mean, there was a game last week where we didn't start the tip off well, and you could tell that the energy was trying to be worked back into the game from that moment. And so I think just taking it super personally, and knowing that we're out there with purpose from the tip. And so that's my mindset going in, is to punch first.
Leah Secondo on the call tonight with Spectrum Sportsnet.
Hi, thank you. In your off days, because of the quick turnaround, and we're starting to see some players go down with some pull muscles and different things, what are you in particular doing just to kind of rest your body, recoup as quick as you can for the next game?
Every once in a while, we have pool workouts as a team, and then Court's Corner, Dr. Watson, that's what we like to call her. Court is always available to us for treatment. We have Terrence here who gives massages, and so if you have bumps or bruises, you just got to book an appointment with them, and they're always open. And then we have ice baths. We have tubs right in front of our villa that we can use whenever we want. And so it's finding new ways to make sure that your body is fresh, that is taken care of, stretching a lot. I know that before, in between game days for our practices, we start with stretching, yoga, deep tissue type work to make sure that before we do anything, or even if we don't move that much that day, that our bodies are getting worked on, and making sure that we're staying loose, staying active. If you got to go to the weight room and do some lifting, it just depends on each person. So I know sometimes I like to do yoga. I like to go to the weight room, maybe get a quick lift in just to keep my muscles active. And so I'm just this is new for me too, making sure that I continue to learn how to recover the right way and be fresh for these quick turnarounds for games.
Sukni New in LA Times.
Speaking to that, Sydney, you were just mentioning Courtney, and Derek called her your real MVP this year. What's it like working with her, especially in these circumstances, knowing just how important health is to surviving the season?
Court is a complete rock star. I mean, she's here for us. Terrence is here for us. And they know, they're the experts, and they, whatever they say, you follow suit, because they know exactly what it takes to make sure that we are taken care of. We are the top priority in their eyes, and they're sacrificing so much to make sure that we're taken care of, and we don't take it for granted. We're super grateful to have Courtney. I think she's the best in the business. And then Terrence has been awesome too. And so it's been a blessing to have two hands on deck that know our bodies, that know what we need, that know our history. And then we can communicate open and freely to them for anything that we might need, and they're willing to do that for us.
Miriam Swanson, LA Daily News.
Hey, Sid, congrats on your good playing of late. I kind of a social justice question for you. Obviously, you guys were, wearing the Breonna Taylor shirts the other day, and you guys have been putting your message out there. And you've talked a little bit about sort of absorbing all this information in a new way. And I just wonder how, in your basketball career, from like youth and high school to college to now, how the conversation has changed on teams as far as matters of social justice and racism. Is this something you guys are talking about more now, and why does that matter?
Yes, I think, like I mentioned last week, I was late to the party in really embracing this reality that we've always been living in. And I feel like, it's interesting because when you're a kid, things don't really register. You don't really understand certain things that might be taking place. And so I think I would have conversations back in college with some of my teammates, but it never really clicked for me. And so now I'm immersed in it, and I'm hyper aware of what's taking place, how I can be better, how I can be more active. And I think most recently this weekend we had, each week we're honoring a different woman who lost her life at the hands of police. And this week we are honoring Michelle Cusso. She was 56 when she got killed by police. It was back in 2014. It was a mental health check-in, and the police were the first responders at the time. And there was, I think, 8 policemen there, and they forced their way into her home. And he felt threatened by the way that she was looking at him, and she was holding a hammer, and he ended up shooting and killing her. And it's amazing. I don't know if amazing is the right word, but to learn these stories and to be able to speak with her mom. So her mom was on the call this weekend sharing that story with us, and her mom, she's called Mama Fran. She's known as the godmother as the Say Her Name movement, because she was one of the first moms to really take action by not letting her daughter be murdered in vain. She took her daughter's casket, to City Hall in downtown Phoenix to make sure that everybody was aware of that story. And she's been fighting for her these last few years. And so each week we're learning a new story. We're hearing a new name, and it's on us. And I'm thankful that we have the platform to share those stories. And so I'm learning, like I said, we're learning so much, and it's so much bigger than the game, and I'll keep saying that. But to hear these stories, to have the ability to say their names, that means more than any W could ever mean.
Last question for Sydney, Chris Camello. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, sorry. Sydney, talk about the transition, just kind of building, piggybacking on John's question, the transition from going to the bench to the starter, not just offensively, but also defensively, especially tonight without TRP in the starting lineup. Yeah,
I mean, I'm thankful for the sport of basketball, because you're out there with 4 other women who are really good at what they do. And so you might be thrown into different roles any given night, but that's our job as professionals, is to handle our role and to take it on and do the best that we can with it. And so I know that, it's tough to make up for TRP. She is the head of the snake when it comes to defense for us, but it's our job to step up and make sure that we take care of that void, and that we don't miss a beat here. Each game is important. And so you're going to see a lot of energy on that end and a lot of communication. And we're going to take it, like I said, personally from the tip.
Thank you, Sydney. Good luck tonight.
Thank you. Go Sparks.
Ray, we'll start with Sabrina Merchant, SB Nation.
Hey, Chelsea. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you've had Marie Gulish in the lineup, for a few games now, and I'm just curious what she's been able to bring on the defensive end, maybe that you weren't aware of before, or, how she changes things there.
Yeah, I've enjoyed being able to have her in the lineup. First of all, she's been working extremely hard in practice to, she missed some time. So being able to, get some reps and really go full speed. But defensively, just her communication and trying to get better, trying to understand her teammates, but her ability, her length to, kind of disturb people shooting the rock has been good, getting deflections out there denying, and some hustle plays, getting some rebounds. So I really appreciate that from her.
Sukni, you in LA Times.
After having been with the Sparks for a few years and working with Courtney Watson, your trainer, for that time, what do you appreciate about the way she goes about your job and works with you guys? It seems like everyone thinks she's one of the best trainers in the league, if not like the whole sports landscape.
Yeah, I think Courtney's amazing. Dr. Watson now. But I always keep in close contact with Corey, even when we're not in season, just because I trust her that much. I trust her judgment. I trust what she's saying is coming from a background of understanding and really learning and being able, not just knowing the information, but able to explain it in a way that athletes understand it. But just, she always wants to put her players first, no matter what. And you really appreciate that. And, she's been in this league a long time. She communicates with other trainers around the league, and I understand, her abilities, and she knows a bunch of different things. So you can come to her with basically anything, and she'll be able to tell you. If she can't tell you, she got books to tell you. So you really appreciate that side and how her mind works. But just her grit and, doing whatever is best for us. She wants us to be in the best shape possible, injury-free. So I really appreciate having her as a trainer, but also a friend. And it's good to, have an African-American trainer, in a league full of people that look like her. So I really appreciate that as well.
John W. Davis, Winsider.
Hi, good West Coast morning to you. Chelsea, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. If I could get your perspective on something, I would really appreciate that. So on podcasts and different things that I've done, I've made the statement that, every WNBA team needs a Sydney Wiese. Do you feel like she's a person that every team could use? And if you do, could you kind of explain that from your perspective on what she would bring to anybody?
Yeah, I definitely feel that from the years that she's from. She started with LA to now. She's been a great teammate. No matter if she's getting in the game, whether she's not, and you're seeing, how she's working, when the doors are closed, lights are off, she's getting in the gym, she's doing different things. And to have a teammate like that work so hard, keep the communication, always learning, always pushing you to be better. And she's one heck of a player. So it just matter that now she's, showing the world what she's capable of doing. But we've always had Sydney's back. We always knew that she was capable of a lot more than she was showing out there. And having the opportunity to now do that, it's huge for us. I think she's shooting around like 50% from the three, that's Sydney Wiese, and we've always had her back with that. But also she could pass the rock, handle it. So I have the utmost confidence in Sid. But she's one heck of a person. Nobody else is getting our Sydney Wiese right now, though. So.
Last question for Chelsea today. Miriam Swanson, LA Daily News.
Hey, Chelsea. Social justice question for you, sort of. Obviously, the WNBA has been at the forefront of sort of putting social messages out there for several years now, and continue to be. How proud are you of your league and sort of your place in kind of getting that word out and sharing those important messages?
I'm super proud to be a part of a league with that, strong women, a strong, unified front. We're at the forefront of kind of sharing these initiatives and leading the charge, of trying to make change outside of the, you know, bubble that we're in right now. And you really appreciate being around women with the strong voices, using their platform, no matter how big or small your platform is, we have one, and to be able to use that to get messages across is huge. And being an African-American woman in this league, and just to see, you know, a unified front in the message we're trying to push and trying to push forward is huge. So I'm proud to be part of a league that stands for things like this.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you.